I expected a really tough game tonight for Oxford, but I have to say, that was a pretty routine win. Hello everybody and welcome back to another review of this Oxford United season. It's 3 without a win for the U's. So today, let's see if they could get one away at Lincoln City. I forgot to say happy Halloween to everybody and what could look like on paper, potentially a pretty scary trip till Bank or the Liner Stadium, as it's called now. I always prefer Bank, as Oxford did take on Lincoln City today. Look, I was in the stands a few years ago when Oxford beat Lincoln by 6-0 in 2019, and since then, though, it's been nothing but pain for Oxford United. No wins, not even any goals in the 3 returns that we've had to this ground. Bring back Tariq Fosu is what I say. But that little mini hoodoo that we've had against Lincoln City away from home has been put to bed this evening as Oxford United got back to winning ways and Oxford United kept up their promotion pace with a nice comfortable away win. It finished Lincoln City 0, Oxford United 2. So as per normal, I will look over the team news for both sides. I'll do a match review of the game and I will give my final thoughts. If you could hit like on this video, that helps me out so much. And if you do like the content, then consider subscribing. Let's have a look at this Oxford United lineup then. And it continued with 3 at the back with 4 Liam Manning, kind of matching Lincoln City up a little bit again. But they did make 2 changes from the side that did draw against Wycombe Wanderers. Ciaron Brown, no surprise, returned to the midfield in place of Josh McEachran, and Tyler Goodrum came into the side in place of Billy Bodin. Despite the referee taking all the headlines in that Oxford-Wycombe game, I do actually think Oxford played quite well on the whole in that game. They just were not clinical enough, and fingers crossed we're not going to get a repeat of that tonight, but would be very nice if Mark Harris could find a goal. He's getting a lot of shit on social media, but I do think he still contributes to this Oxford United side. There's people saying that he's basically like a passenger. I do not agree with that. I think he puts in a lot of work, he puts in a lot of hard work in the press and helps this Oxford United side out a lot. He's just not getting the goals. Moving on to Lincoln City. Lincoln City playing a 3-4-3, and it is Tom Shaw's Lincoln City side. He is in temporary charge after the departure of Mark Kennedy. But the Imps are unbeaten in their last 3 since Shaw has taken over, and generally their home form is excellent, and they've won 5 out of the 7 league games they've played at Bank this season. But they do make changes from the side that got a 1-1 draw away at Exeter. Young striker Jack Vale makes his first start and comes into the side, as does the returning Danny Mandrow, who comes back in after a suspension. I'm a little bit surprised by those changes though, because both Hakeeb Adelakun and Alistair Smith, the players that have come out of the side, both of those guys have played well recently and scored goals in the most recent games as well. So a little bit of a surprising change for Lincoln City. So let's move on to the game. First thing that happened in this game after 4 minutes. Early free kick for Lincoln after a bit of sloppy play by Sam Long. Got caught in possession or got caught under the ball. Had to come back, gave away a foul and then got injured. Sat on the ground, injured his ankle. And that was the last we saw of him. Sam Long had to hobble off the pitch and it forced Oxford into a very early change with Stan Mills coming on. That led to a little bit of a barrage from Lincoln City, them bombarding Oxford with a few set pieces and balls into the box. Oxford struggling to clear their lines, especially whilst they were down to 10. And maybe, and probably, that was Lincoln's best spell of sustained pressure in the whole game. 12 minutes on the clock where Oxford United won their first corner, and that is where Oxford United took the lead in this game. Brannigan with the corner, Ciaron Brown at the near post, just free, nodded it in. Just very, very simple goal from Oxford United. I can't say unusual because we scored a few goals from set pieces, but just always welcome to see Oxford scoring a quite simple, routine goal like that. Pretty poor marking from Lincoln City, but Elliot Moore deserves a bit of praise in the build-up for this. It was a very nice raking ball he played out from the back, which forced Mandrow into giving away that corner. Oxford United in front. Can they build on it? We've seen this before. It was quite a lively start to the game. Both sides almost trying to play counter-attack on each other. Meant to a lot of sloppy play in midfield, but it did meant to quite a pacey, lively start to the game. And it was actually Oxford's second corner, which nearly led to a Lincoln goal. It's Ciaron Brown, scorer of the first goal, gave the ball away on the edge of the box, and it actually led Mandrow to make a surging run up the field. He basically ran box to box, pretty much the length of the pitch, but by the time he got to the nearer around the Oxford penalty area, he was running out of steam, with Finn Stevens kind of getting back to cover him, and he was forced to shoot from pretty far out, and James Beadle was it's an easy save for Beadle to make. As we've seen in recent first halves, the more and more the first half goes on, the more and more Oxford get into their groove and start to cut sides open and make chances, and that's what happened in this one. 25 minutes on the clock, a good cutting move by Oxford United. Rodriguez getting into space in the middle, plays it into Mills, but his shot was deflected wide. Pretty much carbon copy of the same thing happened 3 minutes later. This time Goodrum into the middle, gets it to Rodriguez. Rodriguez puts his shot wide of the near post, and then again, pretty much all within the space of about 3 minutes, Stan Mills gets to the byline, cuts the ball back, but it was just deflected away by a Lincoln defender, with two Oxford players on rushing onto it. Yep, you've seen this before. Oxford creating chances, not getting that second goal. 35 minutes on the clock, and Cameron Brannigan wins the ball back in midfield. My goodness, how much we've missed him. Just the energy he brings to the side. He gets Oxford United moving forward. They work a chance for Tyler Goodrum to shoot from the edge of the box, and I've got to say, probably the save of the game. An amazing save by Jensen in goal. And so half-time came, and half-time it was 1-0 to Oxford United. Put your hands up if you've seen this script before. Oxford United, very good value for the lead, but just have not got that second goal. Lincoln City, very sloppy in possession. They look set up to kind of try and hit Oxford on the counter-attack, which, to be fair, they did a couple of times, and there were a couple of times where Oxford did look a little bit dodgy passing the ball out from the back. So, kudos to the press for Lincoln for those mistakes. But it's just very difficult to see what their plan was. They were very ponderous in possession, often just forced to kind of hit long balls, raking balls, which never really got anything, and didn't really force Beadle into too many chances, and Oxford were able to clear any sort of pressure that sort of came their way, really, and it just meant Oxford were very, very comfortable in this game. I kept thinking that injury to Sam Long, as much as it's annoying that we're going to lose Long for a few weeks now, although he's been getting criticism himself, it maybe was a bit of a blessing in disguise. It forced Oxford to go back into like a 4 at the back, 4-2-3-1 or 4-2-4, and it just gave Oxford a bit of natural width, and it stretched Lincoln a lot more than maybe the 3-4-3 would have done. I do also think Mark Harris played well in this game, and his hold-up play was pretty good, and again, it's just not rolling for him in front of goal, and I know he's going to get shit for that, but I hope he doesn't get too much, because I did think he is playing well and contributing to this side. But we just can't get that second goal, and what we've seen in previous weeks is Oxford have a tendency to sit back. I just hope we don't invite Lincoln back into this one. But they never really did, and the second half was ridiculously comfortable from Oxford United's point of view. I can't really remember many times where Lincoln got really close to scoring a goal in this second half, and it was Oxford who just looked the more likely that they were going to add to their goal tally and really rounded out quite a comfortable win in this one. Conditions weren't easy. It was a greasy pitch, and then the mist and the Halloween fog sort of rolled in, and Lincoln were a bit sloppy again of giving the ball away at the back and nearly presenting chances to Oxford, but nothing was really happening in this game. Not really too many chances. It was a pretty low-key affair. Lincoln were forced to kind of ring changes, really, just to try and give them a little bit of attacking impetus, but pretty soon after they did, Oxford went 2-0 up, and I've got to say, this is a Halloween horror show for Jensen in the Lincoln goal. Mills was able to get some space for pretty much the first time in the second half. He was able to get free down the right-hand side. His cross shot into the area somehow spilt into the net by Jensen. A massive Brucey bonus for Oxford United, but I tell you what, we will bloody take it. Oxford United 2-0 up, never really looked in danger of letting that slip. Closest Lincoln came were a couple of efforts just after Oxford did go 2-0 up, so maybe I was a bit quick to jump on that statement that I just made. But the first one came from Oxford being a little bit sleepy from a corner. Lincoln were able to play the ball straight out to Sorensen on the edge of the box, who was in space, and he did curl a really nice shot that was going into the top corner, but Beadle was able to get across and make a pretty smart save. But from that next phase of play, that next ball that Lincoln were able to throw into the box, Beadle made a real mess of a punch, and it ended up almost like going behind him. And Oxford were a bit lucky that just didn't fall to a Lincoln player or just bounce into the goal. But Mills was able to kind of somehow convert it over the bar. It was a very, very good block, a very timely interception from Mills. Very much needed. A little bit of an error, or big error, from Beadle. But Oxford got away with it, whereas Lincoln didn't. So Lincoln made more changes then to just try and get anything they could, try and get a foothold back into this game, but it just seemed to give Oxford more space, and it just every time Oxford kind of be able to nick the ball, they looked more dangerous on the counter-attack. A very lightning quick break from Oxford, and Rodriguez played in Finn Stevens. He put in a really good low cross, but it was well blocked by Jackson for Lincoln. And again, this was just Oxford not having to do too much to see this game out. It was a very comfortable win. Lincoln really offered very little of a threat going forward, and a very as comfortable and welcome routine win. Oxford United get back to winning ways. Oxford United win 2-0. And that brings me to my final thoughts, and I pretty much summed up what I thought of Lincoln. I thought you can't judge them on just one game, but this is one of the poorest sides we played this season on this showing that they put out today. They just had really no cohesion between their side, and it was very difficult to see how they were going to score a goal past Oxford, barring Oxford making a bit of a balls up and them kind of nicking it off as high up the pitch. Didn't really create much from open play, and didn't really look too threatening from set pieces either. It's been a bit of a blip because they've been pretty good since getting away from Mark Kennedy, so this is probably just one of those days where it just didn't click for them, and Oxford will be very grateful for that. But if you're a Lincoln fan and you've sat through this drivel, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. And if you could give your thoughts down below on what you thought of the game and your thoughts on what you think your side's going to achieve this season, I would very much appreciate it. Always like to hear from the opposition fans. And from an Oxford United point of view, well, this is just exactly what we needed, wasn't it? We had 3 games without a win. It starts to throw up question marks. People get a little bit jittery. It's the last league game for a week or so because we got FA Cup and stuff like that. So it was nice that Oxford got the win today. It wasn't vital or anything like that. It wasn't overly important, but it was just good to get that victory and get just a solid away victory as well. I thought generally a pretty standard from what we've seen from Oxford United this season, where they control large portions of the game. We look very good and comfortable in possession, create some good chances. Again, just guilty of not taking the ones that are on offer. But this time, obviously, we did get a little bit of luck to get that second goal. So there's still question marks about whether how clinical Oxford are. But for now, we don't need to worry about those ones too much. I was looking out for Harris a bit more today because of the criticism he's been getting, and I do think that he played quite well, and you cannot fault the work rate that he brings to this side. I thought Ruben Rodriguez was excellent, and I thought overall Cameron Brannigan just adds so much energy to this side. But I can't overstate that early injury to Sam Long just seemed to help Oxford find a formation that suited them more. We just had more space and more pace down the side when you had Mills and you had Lee on the other side, and it just seemed to mean the players in the middle had more space to exploit this Lincoln backline. Elliot Moore, for me, remains a colossus at the back this season. He's one of the ones that's just stepped up so much. The difference between him to what he was last season is remarkable, really. He barely puts a foot wrong. He looks a towering, commanding presence at the back. And generally, I don't really have too many complaints about this Oxford United performance. We've just gone and done a very solid, don't like this word, professional job. But let me know, Oxford United fans, it would be very nice if you could write some comments that weren't, "We need to get a striker in January." My goodness, am I bored of hearing that comment from Oxford United fans. So if you could just put something else, that would be absolutely great. And just be happy that we've gone away to Lincoln, not only scored, but we bloody won for the first time this decade. Look, really good performance. Enjoy your Halloween's Eve, Oxford United fans. I'll be back to do some sort of review of the Oxford Maidenhead game if I can find a way to watch it. Yeah, not always easy in the FA Cup. But yeah, that's it from me. Not much too more to add. Just like and comment, subscribe and all that jazz. And I'll be back very soon with another review.